Tubman Middle School sits just above the often jammed stretch of I-5 near the Rose Quarter. The air outside the school was deemed so polluted, Portland Public Schools spent millions 2 years ago to install a state-of-the-art HVAC system.
The sort of distinct feature of Harriet Tubman Middle School is that there are these advanced air cleaning systems that remove air pollution.
Elliot Gall was part of a team of researchers from Portland State University helping the district come up with the lung-saving system. Its goal, to remove the tiny particles coming from vehicle exhaust.
They remove 95% or more of the particles or aerosols that are present in air as they're passed through that filter. So the system is quite effective at removing those particles from air.
It's a system some experts say every school needs, especially now. One of the ways the COVID-19 virus spreads is by aerosol transmission. Aerosols are the tiny droplets which stay suspended in the air after an infected person coughs or speaks. Those particles are actually much larger than some of the particles coming from car exhaust, which means that HVAC system at Harriet Tubman is also able to filter out airborne diseases, including the COVID-19 virus.
So air cleaning, I think, certainly plays a role in how we think about bringing buildings, back online and bringing people back into buildings.
It's a fix with a cost in the millions, but it's an investment that should have healthy returns for our schools and those who learn and work inside them.
It's certainly not a silver bullet to making buildings safe, but it's one sort of tool that we should be thinking about.
In Portland, Keely Chalmers, KGW News.